Good evening, folks. Welcome back to another Monday night live stream. How is everybody? We've had a good bit of chat tonight in here already. Couldn't believe it when I came to set up there just before 9 o'clock and saw that there was already a pretty full-on conversation going on. So we've got, let's have a quick look at the chat and see who we've got. We've got Rain is in. Says amazing topic, even if I do say so myself. Thank you very much, Rain. Thanks for coming tonight, and thank you for the topic tonight. So for those that haven't noticed the topic tonight, we're going to be talking about terrain in Wargaming. Rain suggested it, and I think I'm probably paraphrasing here, Rain, but essentially what you said was that if you're new and you're just getting into it, if you're just getting into Wargaming, it can be quite confusing as to what terrain you need or where to buy terrain from or what terrain to get. So as it's such an important part of Wargaming and it's what makes it feel very different to just kind of I think somebody mentioned about putting sort of books under mats. Yeah, so we'll spend a bit of time talking about terrain tonight. We've got, who else have we got in the chat as well? The chat's moving particularly quick again already. We've got Mark is in. Says good evening to Mark there. Says good topic suggestion. We've got Mike in as well. Says unless it's a Subutio pitch with books underneath, it's not proper Wargaming terrain. Just like the good old days, mate. There. We've also got let's have a look. We've got Harry in as well, the Dark Artisan. Good evening, mate. Hope you're well. We've got Stephen from Steve's Small World. Good evening to you too. We've got Michael in from Miniature Painting. Says, ooh, exciting, the Vanguard stream. You're about a week out, mate, but I'll give you that one. Harry's saying, Andy, what's that song, mate? Do you know what it is? I can't even remember what it's called, mate. It's just like license-free music stuff, I think, but I'll dig it out and I'll find out for you, mate. I'll put it in the Facebook group. We've got Kevin from Rage Against the Dice. Says, good evening. Evening, Kev. We've got Graham in as well. A good evening, Graham. Hope you're well, mate. When it comes to terrain, nobody better than you, mate, for all the work that you've done over the years. We've got Neil in as well. Says, hello. Good evening to you too, Neil. Nice to see you, buddy. We've got Skullmunch in as well. Says, evening, Andy. Evening, Wargamers. Good evening to Skullmunch. Hope you're well as well. Mark says, have you all checked out the new Hellboy movie poster? I didn't know there was one, mate. I'm going to have to Google it now. Let's have a look. 2019, I assume it is. Let's have a look, see where we are, see if it's new. I don't know if it's really showing the movie poster here. Let's have a few images and stuff. No, I'm not. You'll have to send me a link to it, mate. I don't know. I can't really see it. But if it's the pictures of just the guy as Hellboy, like he looks pretty cool, doesn't he? It's the guy from Stranger Things, isn't it? Who was the cop? Forget what the guy's name is. We've got Ian Scammons in. Evening, Ian. He says going to be dipping in tonight, prepping for a job interview tomorrow, and booking on to a speed awareness course. Whoops. Well, first of all, best of luck for the job interview tomorrow, mate. Hope it all goes well, and best of luck with that. And even better luck with the speed awareness course. Yeah, I've done a one myself as well. It's a long day. We've got Mark saying Hellboy Legendary AF. Looks great. We've got Glenn Griffin in as well. Good evening, Glenn. Hope you're well. He says he's made it. Hey, Andy, missed the show last week because of work. Looking forward to the chat. Thank you for joining us. Sorry you missed last week, but it was a good week last week. We were obviously talking about Kings of War Vanguard last week on the special. It was a real good crowd in last week. A few of the guys from Mantic dropped in as well and helped out with some of the questions. So yeah, it was a good chat last week. We've got Andy in from Peninsula Painting Project. Easy for you to say. Evening, buddy. Hope you're well too. We've got Tolmart in as well. Says hello all. And we've got Flying Mammal in as well. Nice to see you, Flying Mammal. Rain says, what's the speed awareness course? So, Rain, in the UK, if you get caught speeding and it is within a limit of like not more than, I think it's like not more than 10 miles an hour over the limit or something like that, sometimes instead of getting points on your license and a fine, you have the option to take a speed awareness course where basically for about 8 hours they tell you basically the error of your ways, tell you why you shouldn't be speeding, tell you what all the, a kind of a refresher really about what speed you should be driving in the UK. So yeah, it's instead of taking points on your license. So in the UK, you get 3 points normally for speeding, and then once you get over 12 points, you lose your license. So effectively, you can only really be caught 4 times. So yeah, that's what speed awareness is. It's to try and make you more aware of what the consequences of your speeding actions are. So there you go. Flying Mammal says, crying in the corner because I just lost Night Vault badly. Oh dear. So Night Vault might be something we touch on tonight then, because I haven't read anything about it yet. I'll be honest, I've not really been up to speed with it. Is it basically just more Shadespire with new warbands, or is there new rules as well? Let me know in the comments tonight. We might have a chat about that later on as well. Harry's saying there's so many cool guys in here. What can I say, Harry? It's where the cool kids hang out. We've got Michael is saying, we just get a fine and a good day. Yeah, I wish we did, mate. I was quite close for a while. I was on 9 points, and I kept every time over a period after if your points stay in your license for so long, and then they start to drop off again. And I went through a phase of dropping down to 6 and going back to 9, and dropping down to 6 and going back to 9. But I do drive quite a bit. I do roughly about 50,000 mile a year, something like that. Is it as much as that? No, probably near about 30,000 mile a year, I should say. 50,000 mile racks up quite quick though. So yeah, I do quite a bit of driving, and it soon catches up with you, mate, when you're on the motorways. We've got Buzzer in as well. Says, hey peeps, hello Buzzer, how you doing? That's Buzzer from Underdog Painting. Michael's saying above 50 kilometers and they take the license away. Bloody hell, yeah, that is bad. We've got Andrew Pearson. Good evening, Andrew. It says, hi there, Andy and everybody else. Sorry I missed the last couple of weeks. Never apologise, mate. It's always nice to have you here when you can make it. Been busy with work, marking students' work again. I've done a speed awareness course. Wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Yeah, mine was a bit of a pain. To be honest, I was on with. You expect it to be full of like young lads, like boy racers with their kind of high power cars, and it's not. It's full of older people who basically just don't pay any attention to the speed signs. I think we've got Tim's in as well. Says, hi Andy and all. Evening Tim, hope you're well, mate. Skullmoney says Night Vault is the same thing, just new warbands and the addition of magic. Oh, I didn't know that. So you'll have to tell me more about the magic side of things. And is it just like sort of ranged spells, or do they do things to the board and stuff as well? Michael's saying where the cool kids, and Andy is the boss monster. Thanks, mate. Rain says there's a new magic system and other new rules, but all the same thing. So, is it still possible to can you still use your old Shadespire miniatures against the new Night Vault stuff? And is there upgrades for like spells and things for them, or basically is it not unbalanced with some have spells and some don't? Be nice to kind of find out a bit more about it. Let's have a look. Andrew saying, my advice is take an active role in it by answering questions. They can fail you if you sit there and do nothing. Agreed. Yeah, you definitely have to take an active part in it. I mean, the whole point of it is you're supposed to be kind of learning about it. So yeah, make sure you do that, Ian. Mark says he shared the poster on the Facebook group. Let's have a look. And here, see where we are on Facebook group. There we go. Oh, that is amazing. Let's have a look over there. So, Hellboy, how cool is that looking? April the 12th. That's not too long away then, is it really? I thought it was going to be much later in the year. That is pretty awesome, that, mate. I like that picture. Yeah, very nice. Very nice indeed. Tim saying speed awareness course is dull as chuff. I got a motorway awareness course next month. Do you know what it is? I think when I got caught speeding and I did a speed awareness course, it was on a motorway, but I don't think they ever got a choice of a motorway one. I think the problem is as well, like it's not. It was more expensive to do the speed awareness course. I think it cost me like £100 or something like that. But it's getting the points on your license you don't want, isn't it? As well. I guess you just shouldn't speed. Basically, is that. We've got Matt Mountain as well. Good evening, Matt. It says, hey, mate, really enjoyed the Vanguard series. Thank you very much. I was just watching your painting one today, mate. Nice job on that video as well. Looking forward to seeing more of those. We've got Kablams in as well. It says, hi all. Hello, Craig. Hope you're well, mate. Hope you're keeping well, mate. Glenn says, I just picked up the Nightvolt bulks and the Skaven Warband on Saturday. Just finished painting up the leader this evening. Looking to get Underworld in a big way. Yeah, I don't know why I kind of fell out of playing it, really. There was a few of us at our local group were playing it. Some of the guys used to come around during the week to my house and we would have a couple of games, but just kind of, I think everyone just kind of moves on and gets involved with their other games, don't they? But yeah, I should try and get some more games of that in, actually. I enjoyed it when I was playing. Tim says, I blame the idles in the 50-mile-an-hour stretch of the M1. Tell me about it, mate. 90% of the time, I think, when I've been done, it's been like, I think I got done for like 81 on a motorway, which is like normally 70 mile an hour, and I got done for like 53 or something in a 50 zone, or 54, I think it was. Yeah, not great. We've got, oh, where are we? Got Dice Guy says, yo to Dice Guy, hope you're well, buddy. Broken Legion of Gamers, hello, Nick. Says, hey guys, I'm in while I can watch. Promised the better half I'd spend time with her tonight, but we'll definitely watch later. Thank you very much for popping in, buddy. Much appreciated. Yep, the video will always be there to watch later on as well, mate. So make sure you get your family time in as well. Ian says, got caught doing 35 in my boy racer key. Yeah, that's what it is, mate. You will buy these sports cars. We've got Shaggy Wargaming in. Evening, buddy. How you doing, Jack? Andrew says, everything is compatible in Shadespire. That's good to know. Dice Guy says, chatters, smash that like button if you enjoy this channel. It helps out more than you know. It certainly does, Dice Guy. Much appreciated, mate. Yeah, basically, if you guys hit the like button, YouTube sees that it's getting some interaction and things like that, and it's more likely to share it to other people. So yeah, the like button certainly does help. Thank you for that. Skullmunch says, it's early days, but people are worried about the magic power creep. Everything is compatible with Shadespire and Nightvolt. I guess that's the whole point. There's always power creep, isn't it? Otherwise, why would you buy the new stuff? But yeah, it's you need to kind of. I bought everything for Shadespire up until they redid the second Stormcast group and the second Khorne, like Bloodbound guys. And I think I'd kind of lost my way by then. I've got some of the Fire Slayers I've not even unboxed yet. I've got some. I'm just looking at them on the shelf now. That's why I'm kind of glancing over there. I've got the let's see, a Skaven there. I've got the. It is Skaven, isn't it? Like the rat guys. I've got the Skaven guys there that I've painted up, but not even played a game with them either. We've got Big Mick Danscon as well. Sorry, lost my track there. Evening, Dan. Hope you're well, mate. Kabams is saying hello as well. Jack says, if you've just passed your test and you get 6 points in the first 2 years, you have to redo your test. Well, as you can tell, mate, I've been driving for quite a few years now, so I think, luckily, I'm over that one. But yeah, I did go through a bit of a patch where I seem to get caught quite regularly, but which would, I think I'm through that now. Andy says, you want to know what's more dull than going to speed awareness course? Going to uni tomorrow. What are you studying at uni, mate? It'd be interesting to know. Skullmunch says, Magic has new dice and symbols and a wizard, and has a level dictating how many magic dice it rolls. So does that mean you've definitely got to buy the core set then to get those new dice, I assume, have you? Or do they do, have they got their own dice as well? They do separate dice as well, don't they now, yeah? Kablams is good. Good to hear, mate. How are you saying cruise control through that bit from Catterick to Dorlo? I know I have to do that now as well. That was where I was, you know, when you've been on a long drive and you just want to get home. Yeah, exactly. Jack says, enjoyed your vids on I'll say that again in English. Says, enjoyed your vids on Vanguard, Andy. Had a go at Tabletop Gaming Live and look forward to the launch day at Mantic. Yeah, I was reading your blog at the weekend, buddy. It was it looks like you had quite a good weekend at Tabletop Gaming Live. Would you recommend it? Would you say it was worth going to? I know it was the first year, and I guess it needs to kind of pick up, and it needs to like sort of iron out any kind of first year issues and stuff. But overall, would you go back? Kablams is saying, not sure I like the magic in Underworlds. I don't, like I say, I don't really know much about it. I'd love to give it a try though, just to kind of find out. Harry Seen when he was 19 got done for 33 in the 30, never got offered the course. Yeah, sometimes you just don't, mate. I think it depends. The only time I got offered it, I got caught just past York or something like that, and I got offered a course. But the other times I've always just had the fine. Michael saying, talk about Star Realms last time. Played it now, 2 or 3 turns a game. We got it. It was a blast. Highly recommended game with more than meets the eye tactics. I watched your video on that one, mate. It was quite interesting. It's not a game I'd heard of. So yeah, anybody interested in the card game Star Realms, head across to Michael's channel. He's got a nice unboxing video on that. Dice Guy says, getting the Eternals and Corn plus the new box coming. Be nice to see how you, let me know how you get on with them, mate. Tell me, have you played already, or are you just getting into it now? Is this your first one? Craig saying, the power creep in Shadespire is the reason I stopped playing myself. Took part in a tournament and it put me right off. Yeah, that's what I didn't play in any tournaments, to be honest. I used to just play against the local guys, and we didn't play it that often to be kind of power creepy. I think people just kind of bought their warbands and played them, but we're never into the kind of like the latest stuff. And I think we drifted away before, forget what it's called now, but there was that big issue with some of the cards that interacted together. I really forget the name of it now, but yeah, we drifted away before that one, but we'd like to give it a try again. Dice Guy says, Shadespire is sexy, damn it. Michael says, Captain Kill announced the box game giveaway last week too. Tell him, Andy. Yeah, check out Michael's channel for Captain Kill. That's all I'm saying. Go and check it out. Dan's just saying hello to Craig. Dice Guy says, going to be fun to try out Vanguard. And Shaggy says, if you want a storage solution for all the Shadespire Season 1s, check out Sally Forth. I helped design it and it works really well. Yeah, also check out Jack, or Shaggy has got a blog as well where he's got some stuff on there about it. It's definitely worth checking out, Shaggy Wargaming blog. And he's also got a good review of tabletop gaming at the weekend as well. Rain says, anyone excited about the Venom movie? Tom Hardy is almost as sexy as Andy, so it'll be easy to get my missus with me to the movies. It looks amazing. Tom Hardy wouldn't have been my normal choice for Venom. I wouldn't have thought. But actually, after seeing the trailers, yeah, it looks amazing. Really looking forward to that. We've got Anthony as well from Revenant Tabletop Gaming. Says, hi guys. Good evening, Anth. Hope you're well, mate. Dice Guy saying hi. Matt says he was demoing on the Mantic stand at Tabletop on Saturday. It's a pretty good day, although we'll be surprised if the Sunday was as busy. Some of the pictures I saw, mate, I think, I'm trying to remember whose stand it was that I saw. It possibly was, it was somebody doing a demo game. Oh, I forget who it was now. But anyway, it looked really quiet. And it actually looked like there was massive spaces between tables and stuff. It might have just been one bad picture I saw. But was it really all quite like sort of spread out? Is that what was it like that? Let's have a look. Dice Guy says, have all of them painted and all? Ah, so you're right into it, mate, then in that case. Anthony saying, I mentioned Hero Realms a while back. Yeah, I knew somebody had, and I couldn't remember who it was. It must have been you, mate. Andy says he's studying a Bachelor of Science in Food Product Science, essentially nutritional science, but I don't want to work within the NHS. I want to sell my soul to the private sector, get a company car, and all that jazz. Private sector is where the money is, mate. That's the way to do it. Skullmunch says magic is great in it. They're either just little buffs or an attack which is in line with other attacks. But I'm not worried at the moment. Magic dice in the core and separate dice packs now. I'll have to check it out, mate. I haven't even really looked. I know the Night Haunter, obviously the new ones as well, but I haven't looked to see what else is coming as well. How are we doing for time? Well, right, we've still got a bit of chat going on, but I'll catch up on that one in a second. But we'll catch up on that. What we'll do is we'll kick off having a chat about the topic tonight. So for those that don't know, the topic tonight is about terrain, and it was suggested by Rain. And one of the reasons he suggested it was there's so many people sell it. There's so many different things to choose from. What's good? What's bad? What do you need? If you're a new player starting a game out, picking up terrain is sometimes a bit of a kind of it's a bit daunting, I suppose. And I'll be honest, from my own personal hobby stuff, terrain is not really something I've picked up over the years. I tended to not play at home because I didn't have the space. So I used to play at a local gaming club, or I would play at a store where there would be terrain provided. And so it wasn't something that I ever really picked up. And it wasn't until more recently that I wanted to start to build up some stuff. And I think Star Wars Legion was probably when it started for me. So I picked up some bits and pieces for that. I've picked up some stuff for Walking Dead as well. And then Kill Team was really when it was kicked in for me, I suppose. So the terrain that you got in the Kill Team box, excuse me, absolutely loved it. And it kind of gave me a little bit of a buzz for terrain, to be honest. So it'll be interesting to see what you guys think. What's your kind of experiences with terrain? I just picked up some of the Battlefield terrain crate stuff from Mantic, which I bought from Michael's online store. And again, the stuff that it adds to you, it adds to your game so well from a theme perspective that kind of makes me wonder how I managed without it for so long, really. Right, let's have a look in the chat. Michael is saying that the cat's been crawling across his keyboard there. Dice says he's more of a collector painter than a gamer right now. Andrew saying hello to Matt. Anthony saying I think Star Realms is based on it. So it's probably part of the same universe, if you like. Skull Munch is saying looking forward to the new Night Vault Goblins that are up for pre-order next week. As is the way with GW stuff at the minute, it feels like everything comes so fast, doesn't it? But I think potentially the original Shadespire was probably stretched out a bit too far, I would say. Craig's saying he's been out the loop of late. Everyone's still into Kill Team, and have you tried Titanicus yet, Andy? To answer Titanicus, no, I've not tried it. It was a bit expensive for me, mate, for a game I'd not played before. I didn't have any of that kind of sort of fond memories of the original. I've never played it before, and I didn't really want to take a punt on it if it was something I wouldn't play very much because it was quite pricey. Although the models do look fantastic. It's something I wouldn't mind giving a try to. Kill Team wise, I've had a little bit of a break from Kill Team while I did some other stuff. So do some Kings of War Vanguard stuff. So I had quite a bit of coverage on that on the channel last week. So I've been doing a lot of painting for that to get ready for last week's videos. So I am still interested in Kill Team. I'll be honest, I'm a bit on the fence about it at the minute, if I'm honest. Because one of the things I loved about Kill Team was the fact that it was one book. All of the rules were in there. All of the points costs were in there. Everybody was on a kind of level playing field. And now we're already starting to see the kind of the creep of the new books, and the FAQs just come out with a few changes to rules, and feels like it's kind of the Commander stuff that's coming out feels like a change to it. Then you've got the Rogue Trader stuff as well. I'm quite happy personally to play with what I've got. I don't feel the need to kind of chase all the expansions and extra bits and pieces. So that's kind of given me a bit of a wobble about it, because I really liked Kill Team as it was without any extra rules tapped onto it, to be fair. But everybody plays the hobby the way they want to play the hobby, and I'm quite happy to play that without buying any extra stuff at the minute. Flying Mammal says, no munch, the gobos are mine. I can see you having to flip a coin for that one, I think. Matt's saying hello to Andrew. Rain says, so about terrain, yeah, we did start on it. Anybody ever use any Hearst art stuff? So a box load of those on sale, and was thinking of buying them to make fences and broken walls. The Hearst art stuff is really nice. However, it's not a quick method to get a table together. There's a lot of obviously casting the is it like plaster of Paris and stuff you use, isn't it? You kind of cast with. It's like I think Hearst arts are like the rubber molds or the silicon molds. There's probably cheaper or faster ways to do it, I'll be honest, mate. But it does look good when it's all done. We've got Millennium Card Games in. Says, hello all. Hello, Millennium Card Games. Hope you're well. Michael is saying the Captain Kill is so nasty. He eats his cup of coffee and he doesn't like the coffee. You have no idea how much I had to convince him to tell you guys that. How's the voice, Michael? Has your throat recovered from doing those videos? Dice Guy saying Hearst art is too much fuss for my taste. Yeah, that's kind of where I am. I don't mind building stuff. I don't mind a bit of DIY stuff. but casting stuff for that just feels like a step too far. It doesn't, for me personally, things like walls and stuff don't need to be that detailed, really. I'll be honest, I mean, I think I've just got up here. Let's flick across. So this is the stuff that I got from Michael, this battlefield terrain crate stuff. And these walls here are just plastic, single piece, and they look more than good enough on the battlefield. I was really happy with them. The fences are good. These kind of bushes things, everything's plastic. They're hard wearing. Well, they kind of don't mind getting knocked about, and they've painted up pretty well, I'll be honest. So I've been more than happy with these. I don't think I'd go to the hassle really of like casting things personally for myself, but hey, each to their own. Each to their own. Rain's saying there's so many companies selling terrain stuff, I don't know which way to go. Also, loads of DIY videos in YouTube. Doesn't seem too hard. To be honest, a lot of the DIY stuff isn't too hard. If you're wanting to make kind of like, is it bocage and like sort of bushes and trees and things, there's some fantastic tutorials. Certainly check out Luke from Luke's APS. He's got some really good stuff on how to do them for not a lot of money. The MDF stuff you can get these days, certainly that Graham used to be making as well. Makes absolutely fantastic stuff. Even the details on the MDF stuff's really come on a lot. I mean, I got a load of stuff from Graham last year, which I've used it for some Star Wars games. I used it for when I first played my first few games of Necromunda. I've used it a little bit for Kill Team as well when I've been playing with my sons. And that all comes with magnets as well. So you can kind of magnetize it and move it around. So that was excellent. I guess it just depends on what you want. If you want like an ultra realistic looking battlefield, sometimes making it can be the best. But 99% of the time, I find kind of pre-made stuff or things you can make yourself quite easily, or the MDF stuff, more than suits it for me personally. Dice Guy says Mantic and GW make super terrain harder to work on than the minis, but yeah, I think the new GW stuff is really, really good. I mean, the stuff that came for Kill Team, the stuff that came in the kill zones, I think that's all really, really good stuff. They had a bit of a reputation a while ago that some of the terrain they made was kind of a bit bad fitting. It was kind of coming from China, where you were fitting bits of walls together and stuff. The joins didn't fit particularly well. You had to do a lot of green stuffing on them. But certainly the new stuff is fantastic. And Mantic are starting to catch up now as well. So from sci-fi point of view, they've got all of their forget what it's called now. It's got a certain name, but like sort of the dead zone type terrain and stuff. That works really well. Certainly the new terrain crate stuff that they've got. So if you they've got like your kind of your battlefields, or you've got your dungeons and stuff, all of that kind of bits of furniture and things works really well as well. The stuff they do for Walking Dead, kind of the broken smashed up cars and the bits of barriers and things, that's all really good. There's a lot of companies out there that do it, but I think you're right, Rain. It's really hard to kind of pin it down, really. Which is why I think people that play sort of Kill Team and that kind of thing, it's so easy just to buy it all from one place, and that's why you see a lot of sort of Kill Team boards all just use all of the Kill Team terrain. The other side of it as well is you've also got companies like GameMat.eu and Urban Mats. They do some pre-painted terrain as well. That you can obviously buy one of their mats. So there's your table kind of sorted, if you like, your surface. And then they do some pre-painted bits of scenery as well, whether that be bits of castles and walls and things. But let me get some of it up, because I did look at it not too long ago as well. Let's have a look. So they do. Let's fit across. So they do this kind of stuff as well. So these are like sort of chapels, churches, broken down churches. I think this was actually, it actually comes into two pieces, so you can see how it looks. Some very much kind of sort of Africa looking, Star Wars looking buildings and things. But they come like this. They come all painted as well. There's some kind of village, be great for Vanguard, that kind of stuff. Kings of War, bit of AOS. Got your dungeon type terrain as well. What else have we got? Golden tables. Yep, some more housing stuff, bits of battlements. And these things, you can see here, the pre-painted terrain. They're actually let's have a look at the sci-fi stuff as an example. So they do these. I mean, that is 100 and let's have a look. So there's a full set of 14 pieces for €125.90. However, what I would say is there's quite a bit there. There's probably the best part of a, maybe not a full table's worth of terrain, but quite a bit. But it all comes painted like that. So if you're not really into painting it, or you just want something quick, these are quite an affordable option, really. I mean, €130 isn't actually that much for the amount of stuff you get. So it's probably, these can be worth. I mean, you kind of see there really just how these. Obviously, these ones are from. Let me get my head out of the way. From a Guerrilla Miniatures Games video. So you can see he's been using them with these knights and stuff for Warhammer. I was going to remember there now. Then you've got like sort of, let's have a look at some desert terrain. So this kind of stuff again, like for Star Wars or whatever. I mean, here's a Desert Rocks full set. I think Harry might have some of this stuff as well. I'm sure I've seen some of Harry's stuff in Harry's videos. Again, it's like, you know, it's not a bad kind of table fill really. So this is a good option for anybody that doesn't really want to go to the hassle of building, making, painting. You just want some terrain that you can kind of use quite quickly. So let's have a look in the chat again and see where we're up to here. We've got Kablams saying making terrain is a huge part of my hobby life. Yeah, so Craig does quite a bit of stuff. It's worth checking out Kablam's channel as well. There's a lot of stuff with like styrene and like sort of plastic. What's the word I'm looking for? Like plastic sheet type stuff. I forget the proper name for it now. But yeah, definitely worth checking out Kablam's channel. He's done some really good stuff recently for Adeptus Mechanicus. Adeptus Titanicus, I should say. That's right, isn't it? Yeah. Adeptus Titanicus, and it looks really, really good. Not and all kind of made by hand. Chat's really moving fast. I've lost a load of chat here. Where are we up to? Mark says, when terrain costs the same as a booster pack, I always go for the extra mini, missing out on the terrain. That's exactly where I was when I used to do stuff. I always forgot about the terrain, and I'd rather spend 30 quid on a box of minis than 30 quid on a bit of terrain. But I've definitely, especially with doing stuff on the channel now, I feel I need that terrain now. I can't rely upon just kind of using it at a local store. Matt's saying Saturday was 9 till 6 and was quiet after 2. That's interesting. It's just a bit of a hike for me to get down to London. I mean, it was my son's birthday this weekend, which is why I didn't go. And we had some sort of family friends staying and a bit of a party on Sunday. Yeah, on the Sunday. A few people around. So that was why I didn't come down. I would have liked to kind of support it the first year. But yeah, it's a shame really if that's the case, because although to be fair, I'm trying to think back to something like, would you compare it to more like the UK Games Expo if you've been, or would you compare it more to like Salute? What was the kind of feel of it like? Graham says you also bought a lot of MDF terrain last year involving magnets. I did, and I've just mentioned it, buddy. Tim says he made his own hill scatter terrain for the first time. Watched Luke's APS and Mel the Terrain Tutor. Great tutorials. Those two channels, by far and away, they're up there with the best, I think. I know Steve from Steve Small World does quite a bit of good stuff as well. He's worth checking out. There's some good terrain channels out there. And what you tend to find as well is the terrain channels do all right subscribers and views wise as well. People do really want to watch how to make things. Oh, Steve there just mentioned there. He says, love building from scratch, and the Dungeon Architect Kickstarter is great for us 3D printers who uses WhoCraft. 3D printers is probably a good one to crack. We'll get into that a bit more later on, I think, in the chat. Because 3D printers is quite an interesting thing when it comes to doing terrain. Mark says, when it's in the box like Kill Team, it works for me. Although I just got Dungeon Saga, which came with some nice terrain I can use elsewhere. I saw on your Facebook message today, mate, that you'd got Dungeon Saga. I didn't get a chance to reply to it yet. I must have a look at that and see what kind of stuff you get inside it. Tim says, and Jay from Tabletop Oddity made some good stuff for cheap. Jay did some great stuff when it came to certainly some Star Wars stuff as well. If you're into Star Wars Legion or you play anything that you could, even kind of 40k or something where you could play on a bit of a sci-fi kind of deserty board, he made some really good stuff on that as well. That's a great show, Tim. I forgot about that. Tolmart says, making your own, it's a nice part of the hobby. Yeah, I quite enjoy making my own as well, but I always feel like if I'm sitting making terrain, then I'm not painting my models, if you like. So I have been trying to kind of cut a few corners of late by buying ready-made terrain, even buying some stuff from I think we talked about this last week, from like pet shops, stuff for aquariums, bits of rocks and bits of kind of like trees and things like that. Makes nice kind of filler terrain, if you like. Rain says, is papercraft completely useless? There are some nice looking buildings, and since pre-painted proper buildings cost about €50 a piece, it's pretty tempting to just print onto paper and do some origami magic. I did a lot of paper terrain for when I played Malifaux years ago. Actually, I'll see if I can Google that. I used to have a blog years ago. See if I can find, if I can even remember what it was called. I'll see if I can find my old blog from back in the day. Here we go. See if I can find the... So, let's have a flick across. So this was my blog from many days gone by, and this was all paper terrain. So let me see if it was. I've got one of it all finished. Here it was all done. So I zoom in. Oh, can't even click on it. So this was all paper terrain. Back to the last page, it might have a better shot. So the way I did it originally. So this was going back to the original one. So that basically what I used was these floor tiles. You know, you get your self-adhesive kind of lino floor tiles. I used those. I printed off these base tiles from I think it's WorldWorks Games. Print them out, cut them off, laid them on top of these tiles, and then when you get like 4 pieces on there, you've got a 1 foot by 1 foot tile there. You could just use them to make kind of like your mat or your base mat, and then let's have a look. And then basically you stick these bits of kind of card on there as little anchor points so that you can fit these walls and stuff. You put these connected walls in. You make these little kind of dividing walls. So I used this for quite a bit when I first started playing, because it was I didn't really, when it came to Malifaux, when I first started playing Malifaux, it was like there wasn't a lot of terrain available for it at the time. Everyone was using kind of Wild West type stuff, but I didn't really want to kind of use the Wild West stuff. So I kind of wanted something a bit more kind of Victorian, a bit more sort of dirty and old world. So I used this this WorldWorks game stuff. So no, paper terrain actually has its place if you kind of make it with decent quality card. What I would say is the biggest problem with it is it's quite expensive to print. It takes a lot of kind of inks and a lot of cartridges, printer cartridges. That's the biggest problem. Dice Guy says, love Dead Zone, great game. In fact, I should definitely do a battle report of Dead Zone. Me and Sammy quite enjoyed playing it when we were playing it recently. I should do a Dead Zone battle report. Glenn says, terrain takes up a lot of space, but it's one of the best things about this hobby. If I had the space, I'd build up a big terrain collection. Yeah, I'm just looking over here because I had to buy. I was in Wilkinson's, which is a store in the UK, kind of like a discount home store, and they had like those, you know, you get them plastic drawers kind of thing. They had those for like a tenner with like 4 drawers in, and I bought one just to put in my room, just to kind of store all my bits of terrain in now, because it was starting to take up quite a bit of space. You're right, Glenn. You definitely need the space to be able to store it so it doesn't get knocked about and smashed around. Kablams is saying the Titanicus box set was a big mistake in my opinion. The included terrain made it far too expensive. Yeah, it was a game that looked like it needed everything to make you really get the feel for it. And that was what put me off at the time. I just didn't want to spend that kind of money, but I also didn't want to go into it half-hearted. I'd like to have a game of it with somebody that bought it, just so I can kind of have a try and see what I think of it. But it wasn't something that really kind of, I think I'd already spent a fortune on Kill Team at that point in time, and it was just one more thing that I thought I didn't need at the time, if I'm honest. Skullmunch says, I pre-ordered the Vanguard book thanks to your coverage, mate. Where do I send the bill? Somebody else said that to me as well the other day, mate. Saying, now my missus knows where the obsession's come from because of you. And I said, well, that's fine as long as you don't send me the bill. We've got Tony in as well, Mr. Spooky Thing. Evening, Tony. Hope you're well, buddy. Skullmunch says, terrain. How's the scale of the terrain? Would be good to get some at the proper scale for Middle-earth strategy battle game. The terrain, I think GW do some terrain, don't they, for Middle-earth? And if I seem to remember right, it is that little bit smaller scale because it never looked right for AOS. Because AOS is obviously that bit more sort of big and chunky. But some of the Lake Town set is amazing. The Lake Town terrain made me want to play the Lord of the Rings stuff just to buy that terrain. Flying Marvel says, remembering the first fences I made, they were the cutest, but a very long time ago. Cute fences. That's something you don't hear about. Michael says, took me a week to speak normally again. Worth it when I saw the positive reactions on the video. Yeah, it was definitely worth it, mate. That was a good video, that. More of the cap soon. Tolmart says, making your own is cheap and fun. It definitely is cheaper, Tolmart, if you know what you're doing. If you're not sure what you're doing, it can get quite expensive making mistakes. But following some of the tutorials online from the likes of Mel the Terrain Tutor and Luke's APS and Steve and people like that and Jay, it certainly helps out. It certainly helps get you on the right track anyway. Tony has seen they tend to use terrain across several systems. Dead Zone stuff gets used in Necromunda. Walking Dead barriers get used in Guild Ball. Yeah, that's a good shout, isn't it? Certainly some of the stuff I thought for this terrain that I've just picked up for Vanguard, I can certainly use it when I kind of start into my Kings of War stuff that I'm just starting up with my first army now. I can use it in that. The fences and the walls and the bits of camping equipment and the tents and things, I can use in the Walking Dead as well. So that is one thing to kind of note, I would say, is if you're thinking of buying terrain, think about what can you use if you play multiple games. Think about what can you use in multiple games. What can you get more use out of it, rather than just buying one piece for one game and then having to buy something completely different for another game. Is there something you can get kind of equal use out of? Dice Guy says, I'll get my fantasy terrain set up and post on your Facebook page. Yes, please, Dice Guy. That would be much appreciated. Always good to see people's terrain setups. Skullmunch is giving the thumbs up there for Luke's APS. Yeah, I like Luke. Luke's a good guy. Rain says, Skullmunch, I've seen pics of the buildings next to 28 to 32 minis and seemed about right. Rob says, oh, good evening, Rob. Didn't see you come in there. Nice to see you, Rob, mate. Says, hey, Andy, I recently got the Green Family Farm scenery set for Walking Dead. Really pleased with the end result. I do find TT Combat's MDF terrain pretty good value for money. Yeah, I quite like TT Combat stuff as well now. It's certainly now that Graham's Red Beam stuff's not around, from Graham anyway. I picked up some of the TT Combat buildings for Walking Dead when I was at the UK Games Expo. I picked up some of their Star Wars sort of style terrain as well, and I've been quite happy with that, actually. It's not been bad at all. Skullmunch is saying terrain awesome. You'll have to check it out. Mark's saying he likes the look of the TT Combat stuff. If you can pick up the TT Combat stuff at any kind of sort of wargaming event like Salute or UK Games Expo or something like that, they do some really good deals, actually. Flying Mammal saying terrain brings the tabletop to life, however, defo not necessarily. That's a really good shout, actually. It's not 100% necessary. You can get away with just putting Coke cans and Pringles tins and just boxes around just to kind of block line of sight. However, to make it really kind of quite immersive, it makes a big difference to me. I really do like the look of that kind of really sort of detailed battlefield with some nice terrain and stuff. And even if that's just a few little scatter bits and pieces, little bits of boxes or a few walls or fences or something like that, it doesn't have to be kind of big expensive stuff. But yeah, the odd bits and pieces does make a big difference. Just kind of looking around now to see what terrain I've got. That kind of let me very quickly grab you the stuff that I got from the pet shop. I'm back. So yeah, so this is some of the stuff that I picked up. So this was just from a local pet shop. And as you can see, it's just kind of like a gnarled old tree or something like that. And I thought, what can I use this for? So it's perfect for Star Wars Legion. Put it in kind of like that kind of sort of forest swampland type thing. It works well for Kings of War. It works well for Age of Sigmar. It works well for Vanguard. It looks fine for kind of Walking Dead, that kind of stuff. So you can get more than kind of one use out of it as well. And then again, I got this as well, which is just again another piece of rock. This is actually green grass on it here. It's obviously just the green screen is picking up with the other stuff as well. But it was more kind of had a bit of green paint on it. It looked a bit garish, so I literally just kind of glued it and sprinkled a bit of flock over it as well. So yeah, I mean, and I think these were on like 3 for 2 at like a Pets at Home. So I bought these two in a little rock thing, and I think it cost me like 15 quid or something for the 3 of them. Maybe 12 quid for the 3 pieces. So it's surprising what you can pick up. I mean, around Christmas time, you quite often, and around Halloween, you quite often get some kind of bits of terrain and stuff, bits of trees and some interesting bits and pieces. Definitely worth checking out, like kind of bargain stores and pet shops and stuff as well. Rain is saying ordered some scattered terrain from Modiphius for Fallout games. Yeah, some of their scattered terrain looks pretty good as well. I forget who makes it now. Michael's saying tend to buy only the terrain that GW makes, like the War Squire Citadel and the houses Sigmarite Mausoleum Graveyard. For quick games, I use the Mantic stuff when you need to use scattered terrain. Yeah, the GW stuff is good. Like, I mean, there's no getting away from that, certainly. God, there's a lot of chat tonight. I'm not keeping up on my boys and girls, I should say. I'm not keeping up. Ian saying that Daz and Railway Flock can't go wrong. It's more representation than realism for me. That said, when it looks really realistic, then I can appreciate the skill and effort. Yeah, there is a real kind of skill to it. And I just saw somewhere somebody mentioned the foreground stuff as well. It looks fantastic. Like, for example, that foreground shopping mall. I would love to play a game on that. I couldn't justify buying it for that one game kind of thing. Harry's saying the urban mats are great. You've got loads. I thought I'd seen a few, mate. Reviews and bits and pieces on your channel. Yeah, anybody interested in the in that urban mat stuff, check out Harry's channel, The Dark Artisan. There's definitely some reviews in there. I've seen those ones. Andrew says TT Combat do some pretty cool MDF terrain if memory serves right. They definitely do, mate. Yeah. Harry saying Tatooine. He says, yeah, Andrew bought Necron and Eldar terrain from TT Combat. Great stuff. Yeah, I think there's someone Nick's channel as well, on Idic Beer's channel. He's been doing some of that as well. Mark's mentioned about the foreground. The pre-painted fantasy houses look great but come at a price. There's definitely a balance of kind of price versus kind of convenience, isn't it? Rain says, my problem is that at the moment I'm into Fallout, Lord of the Rings, and about to get into Vanguard, so need 2 kinds of terrain. Love the game mat stuff, but buying for both settings will be as expensive as the games. Yeah, what I would say is if you kind of went with kind of grassland type stuff, you maybe get away with it. Something a bit like sort of maybe a bit urban, but if you think like fantasy urban as opposed to kind of like modern urban, you might get away with it as well. We've got Throatsaw in as well. Good evening, Throatsaw. Says, ooh, terrain. Lovely. Good evening, all. Steve says, the Stoic Arms. Oh, that foreground kit. I remember seeing that on Beasts of War. That Stoic Arms is an amazing piece of kit. Kablam says, cheers, Andy. You're welcome, buddy. We've got Ross in from Gaming. Good evening, Ross. Hope you're well, buddy. Let me just celebrate with the mug there as well, buddy. He says, I stand by my comment in the group. I'm better looking. Well, I'll tell you what, mate. You'll have to come and join me on here one week. Then we'll have a pout off. See how we get on. It says, big shout out to the little guys for terrain, in particular Urban Construct. Not heard of them, mate. And Last Valley Scenics, again, not heard of them either. So good shout for a couple of newer companies, smaller companies. Jack is saying, was a good day, not too packed due to being over the 2 days, unlike Salute. No goodie bag, but interesting seminars. And I had a board game library which was free. Next year will be bigger, I think. Which seminars did you go to, mate? I think did I read them on your blog, but I can't remember which ones they were. Let me know. Kev was saying about, I can never pronounce their name, mate. Is it Teddy's? Is that right? And the Extraordinary Laser Company make great terrain, reasonably priced. Yeah, see, you're missing out on Red Beam now. And yeah, I know the War Cradle guys have got Red Beam, but used to like their stuff. Throat Sources, I've started to invest more time in terrain now. Dark Ops and Uncertain Scenery are my favourites. Uncertain Scenery is a hell of a shout, especially anybody that is into Dead Zone as well. The Uncertain, in fact, I'm going to bring those up because I've seen them on a few channels when they've been doing battle reports and stuff, and I'm really tempted to pick up some myself on Certain Scenery. Let me get these up. So we'll flick across to F1. Uncertain Scenery. You might have seen these on some of the Way to Fire battle reports on the YouTube channel. Certainly seen some stuff on Throat Sores video recently as well. But they do kind of these gaming sort of the board systems. Let me have a look. So basically it's MDF, but they come with some really nice detail to them. So as you can see, kind of this is like an upper level, but there's a lower level as well. You also have some pieces that come away, so you can make it like kind of broken across 2 layers as well. The views from underneath, like sort of some very cinematic kind of views of under in the caverns, really reminiscent of kind of like Aliens films and stuff like that. But that is £75 for a 2 foot by 2 foot table, which like basically is like this. And you might be able to see, but essentially like that bit just breaks away from there, so there's pieces lift off. Looks really, really nice. Really, something else I'd seen as well. Maybe under the board accessories, where there was some, maybe not. I'm trying to remember now. It was some of the stuff that kind of fitted on top of it as well, like a lift and stuff like that. Looks really nice, but yeah, Uncertain Scenery is a great shout as well. Excuse me. Kelsey, love Kablam's Orky buildings. Definitely. We've got Stuart Noble in as in. Getting my tongue tied here. We've got Stuart Noble in as well tonight. Good evening, Stuart. I hope you're well, mate. There's evening all, soz I'm late. What's the crack about tonight? So tonight we're talking about terrain in wargaming, be it homemade terrain, whether it's whether it's sort of pre-painted, constructed terrain, things like stuff you buy in pet shops and that kind of stuff, or whether it's sort of stuff that you build yourself as well. Tim says just order some scatter stuff from Irongate Scenery, market stalls, cauldrons, gravestones, look good and nice prices. I guess you can probably use them as well, Tim, for like burrows and badgers, as well as kind of any kind of fantasy games and things as well. Couple Lambs is saying thanks to Kev. Kev saying my pleasure. Tim says want to get some foreground trees, but steep price. Maybe a Christmas present to myself. Trees is the one thing that I'm really missing actually as well. I could do with some trees for my games, whether it's for Walking Dead or whether it's for Vanguard and Kings of War, that kind of stuff. We got Peter Higgins in as well. I'm not sure I said hello before Peter there tonight, but good evening. Thanks for coming in. Says that looks a lot like the Terraclips terrain that came out from Malifaux a few years ago. Yeah, the Terraclips stuff came out after I'd kind of spent all my time building all that paper terrain stuff. The Terraclips was pretty good, apart from the clips really kind of they were quite distracting when you saw them on board. But to be fair, back then there wasn't a lot of options. I think these days, with certainly MDF terrain wasn't really a big thing back then. And once MDF started to take off, that kind of paper terrain and the Terraclip stuff kind of took a back seat. So there was a lot of options for kind of that Wild West buildings, or sort of some of like the Victorian buildings that TT Combat and stuff did. Prior to the MDF stuff becoming quite big, you didn't really have a lot of choice. Rainer saying was thinking about Malifaux terrain for Fallout. Yeah, I mean, who makes For Fallout, you'd probably definitely get away with kind of Walking Dead stuff as well. Anything that looks a little bit battered up, anything that's kind of a bit worn, a bit apocalyptic, even for like kind of bits of Gaslandy type stuff as well, you probably get away with. Steve says, Tim, look at Knock Trees. The foreground ones are overpriced. I've heard that name before. I must check them out as well, because I could definitely do with some trees. We've got Phil Wilkinson in. It says, hello all. Good evening, Phil. Nice to see you, mate. I don't have to stay on late for you, do I? Have you been to the pub tonight? Have you had a couple of jaws? Shaggy is saying, I enjoy making terrain, and I've used GW, Mantic, TT Combat, you name it. MDF has really come on now, and the boards you can make for Necromunda, etc. for the price is great. Ouch, stubbed my toe there. Yeah, it definitely does make a big difference. It definitely does. MDF has kind of changed terrain, I think, for me. But years ago, unless you were really good at making it, most boards looked a bit bland. But MDF stuff just made it really accessible for everybody. Tim saying thanks to Steve there. Jack saying always looking out at charity shop, toy shops where you can find so much inspiration. I've bought like old dolls' houses and stuff like that from charity shops and stuff for terrain as well, to try and do some kind of like kit bashy type stuff. Craig saying he's got to go now, guys. Lovely chat. Have a good night. Thanks for coming in, Craig. Much appreciated, mate. Take care now. Tall Martin saying I made a great Western saloon for Malifaux and I sat on it. Ouch, mate. Oh, I hope it didn't hurt. He says the Daniel himself. Good evening, Daniel. Hope you're well. He says Luke's amazing. He really is. He's a good guy. Skullmunch is saying I goofed and got Wild West stuff for Malifaux. Now I've Walking Dead and Lord of the Rings set in a saloon. I'm sure the Walking Dead you could have kind of like the Walking Dead crossed with Westworld, couldn't you? That would do it. With kind of modern day Western. Or you could always have a game of Wild West Exodus, of course. Kev is saying hugely pro TT. Yeah, TT combat stuff is good. Michael saying just got myself some Wild West Exodus buildings. Awesome to see them being well fitting without any paint whatsoever. Is that the stuff from War Cradle, mate? Is it? Because theirs is like pre-primed now, isn't it? It looks quite good. Jack saying bought the last day's Zombie Apocalypse rulebook and Warlord had a summer sale, so got a mat and minis for a gang and zombies for £10. That's not bad, mate, is it? Thought I needed terrain, but had loads of unmade stuff I forgot about. Always the case, isn't it? Daniel says, are there terrain companies that are known for offering package deals at conventions? Yeah, TT Combat always do a really good kind of show deal where they'll do, because I nearly bought one for Star Wars this year, where they actually make MDF kind of like squares, if you like boards that you fit together. I think they're probably like 6 inches square or 1 foot square that you kind of make up, and then you can make them into your board, and then they do a full board's worth of terrain as well. And I think it was something like about 100 quid or something like that. It wasn't a fortune kind of thing for what you got. So yeah, definitely they'll kind of do some stuff as well. The guys at Foreground tend to have show deals as well, but it's a bit more expensive. But then again, I would say the quality is better again as well. Matt is saying, Matt was saying till the screen jumped up there. Matt says TT Combat are great. I've kitted out 3 Batman boards for a great price. Also think the good looking scenery really sets the scene for a game. It just draws you in, mate, doesn't it? It just draws you in. Jack's just pretty much saying what yeah, I should have read that really first, shouldn't I? Andy is saying might get some of their pet stuff in. It's pretty good, mate. It fills your table out, and you don't have to build it. You don't have to like kind of mess about with it. If it was wargaming stuff, if this was sort of just made for wargaming, you'd pay a fortune for it. But because it's made for a fish tank, it's like about £4. Right, where we're up to. Andy saying I have 0 terrain. That's one reason why I subbed to Conquest. Yeah, there's going to be some terrain in there as well. I forgot about that. It was one of the reasons I started picking up a lot of the Kill Team boxes, was because terrain was something I didn't really have. We've got Bald Nerdian. Good evening, buddy. I hope you're well. Says, does anyone that know a good company that makes terrain based in the States? Most of the really good ones seem to be in the UK. Yeah, I'm not sure why that is, mate. I don't know. I mean, shipping MDF to the States isn't particularly cheap as well. but I'm not really sure of any. Maybe if there's any of our US viewers are in tonight, if they can recommend anywhere. If not, mate, we'll definitely drop something in the Facebook group. Some of the guys there might have a better idea. Michael saying, mate of mine has them all. Friggin' huge. Yeah, it's a big old piece of terrain, that, isn't it? But it does look good. Where are we now? Dice Guy says the terrain pics are up on Facebook. Let's check them out and see what we've got. Here we go. Let's fit across. So, yeah, they look awesome, don't they? Those GW trees. What do people think about them? What's people's thoughts on them? Because I hear so many pros and cons. This, what used to be the Skull Vein Manse thing, I forget what it's called now, is a beautiful piece of kit as well. It's really nice. I've got one of these as well that it's built up, but I've never got around to painting it. Should really do it for some of the Kings of War stuff. I really like those kits. But yeah, it just shows, doesn't it, though, a little bit of kind of terrain like that really does just set you. It sets off your boards, doesn't it? It just puts a bit of theme to your game. Really nice paint jobs on these as well, mate. Yeah, it's amazing how it looks, isn't it? How it builds it all up, and just really puts a nice bit of. Oh, I've just seen we've got the cute fences as well. I just saw that picture there. They are cute fences. They're really well made, actually. I like them. It's the kind of thing you can nip into your local Starbucks or Costa Coffee, isn't it? And make yourself get some stirrers and make yourself some fences up and stuff. They're excellent, actually. Nicely done, you two. Nicely done. So, where are we up to? We got Gary Hollandale in. Good evening, Gary. Hope you're well, mate. Says, how do you feel about 3D printed terrain? I'll be honest, I've always quite fancied getting myself a 3D printer and doing some terrain. But then I guess what I thought was, by the time I buy the 3D printer and I wait quite some time to actually kind of get everything printed and learn how to print it and everything else, would I get my money's worth out of it? So I'm not so sure. I know Steve from Steve's Small World does a lot of terrain making on 3D printer, and then he casts it and stuff as well, which makes it a bit quicker. I think it looks great. I'm just not sure if I would personally use it enough to get my money's worth out of it, but it's definitely got its place. Definitely. Tony saying Solid Ground Studios as well make some nice bits of terrain and some really nice resin bases. Matt saying Knights of Dice do some cool MDF scenery. That's not a name I've heard of either, Matt. I'll have to check them out, mate. Throat Sauce says I can use a barn in the future, but not a beggar hypercom quantum generator for medieval battles. It depends. You could always have kind of a what's it called, like an Army of Darkness kind of, a bit of like a fantasy thing with some futuristic kind of time travel in there, couldn't you? Jack saying, bold and nerdy, I think Death Ray Designs may be a Canadian company. That's a hell of a shout, mate, actually. Death Ray Designs do a lot of stuff for what's it called again? For Guerrilla Miniature Games. So they might be worth checking out. That's a hell of a shout. Well done, mate. Tim says, Knights of Dice are cracking. Got some of their sci-fi buildings. It jumped dead quick there. Buildings for Star Wars Legion. Aussie company, but Shiny Games in the UK supply them. I know who they are now then. I must check them out again. Jackson got a load of trees from eBay and just stuck washers on the bases and work fine. Also, aquarium plants from eBay, 10 for £3. Perfect for sci-fi jungle. Your trees is something I definitely have to pick some up. Ian Scammons is saying, gotta go, great chat tonight, and I'll catch with the rest another night. Cheers, buddy. Thank you very much for dropping in. Anthony's saying he's great show as well. He's off for now. Thanks, mate. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate that. Ross is saying trees, best one I have are by Last Valley Scenics. Mentioned earlier, I buy from him at events in the north. He's likely to be at Fiasco in Leeds on the last Sunday this month, and Vapn Attack in York in the new year. Vapn Attack's one I used to go to. I used to play War Machine tournament there. Haven't been in a few years, or maybe have a call down next normally January, February time, I think, isn't it? Michael saying, Wild West Exodus, yes, there's a blue tint on the buildings, accents the game lovely and keeps the focus on the game. Yeah, I quite like them with that kind of. I'm not sure if it's like a primer on them or whether it's just something that's already on the MDF or what. Phil saying might have a couple later. Got on it last night, was drinking and painting. Hope you're well, mate. I'm really well, mate. I hope you enjoyed your night as well. I had a few beers on Saturday night. We had some family friends visiting as well, and we've not really kind of sat and socialised in quite some time, so it was nice to catch up and have a few drinks on Saturday night as well. Ross is saying TT Combat baseboards are great value. Check out Schoolboy Studio on Instagram, as he's used them to make some amazing Lord of the Rings Battle Company boards, and the 1 foot square size is perfect for a modular size. Yeah, I quite like them boards. I must admit, I nearly bought myself a full table of Star Wars stuff when I was at the UK Games Expo, but I ended up just buying the terrain itself that I thought I needed, because I had a couple of mats I could use. Phil says he likes the GW trees. I like the look of the trees, man, I must admit, but I keep hearing people saying that the leaves keep like getting knocked off and they get in the way. Ross is saying I think there's a good company called Wargaming or something like that in the US. We'll have to check that one out, mate. Anybody from the US, either drop a note in here, drop a note in the comments down below as well, so anybody watching back later on. To be honest, guys, after the stream tonight or maybe tomorrow, if you want to go back into this video tomorrow and drop the names of these companies into the chat as well, it will be really good to kind of have like a nice little list of recommended wargaming companies. And then anybody that watches this back later on as well has got a nice little list of stuff. Andrew says, when I played War Machine, you played with flat terrain, which had its advantages in transporting the stuff, but didn't look as good as the 3D stuff. War Machine Hordes is very competitive, and you've got to be so accurate and precise. Yeah, when I played it, it was all very flat, like bits of kind of felt or before the fancy days of neoprene stuff. I think Guild Ball's quite similar as well, and probably Tony will probably back this one up. But a lot of the Guild Ball stuff I've seen, people like to prefer those kind of flat pieces of terrain as well. Let me grab a big quick drink. Jack saying if you want to spend a bit more but get quality, check out the foreground trees. Tony says the trees I have shed all over my mats. Yeah, that's the problem, is that you get the bits of stuff everywhere, the flock everywhere. Stuart is saying not sure it's been mentioned yet, but I got some stuff from Amira Plastic Mouldings. Cheapest chips, needs a little trimming and comes white, but looks great with a little love. Amira Plastics is something I remember the name, but I don't know much about them, I'll be honest. Stuart is saying not sure it's been. Oh, I just read that one. Sorry, Stuart. Andrew says marking finished. Thank you for making it more bearable. I hope everybody's markings are correct in that case, and if you've been concentrating on this. Michael says Guild Ball has 3D terrain. Yeah, I think certainly some of the newer sets doesn't it? People have got like the 3D terrain stuff with it, but I've seen a lot of tournaments that like to use like kind of flat neoprene terrain. I guess more for like line of sight, like. So you're not getting in the way of things and stuff, but Tony's saying I like the GW trees, but I leave the leaf bits off as they really get in the way. That's what I keep hearing about them. I've never actually played with them before on a table, and I've never bought any. For all I like them, but yeah, that's what I've heard. Kind of the leaves are a bit of a pain in the backside, to be honest. So, I'm just looking here. So this is some of the stuff. Let's have a look and see what it's called. I was trying to remember the name of the. That's some other stuff as well. That's pretty good. Let me flip across. So I bought Mars Attacks many years ago from Mantic, and they did these kind of these terrain buildings and stuff. They came in the box. You can get some bits of scatter terrain and stuff as well. So I use some of this for Walking Dead. These they had these kind of brick ruined buildings and stuff as well. These were pretty decent as well. They paint up pretty nice with a nice kind of like a brownie sort of spray, and then a bit of a red dry brush over the top. They look pretty good as well. So there's all sorts of kind of things once you start looking, once you start digging in. But the prices are always kind of a consideration. Wargaming is an expensive hobby to start with, and when you're spending a fortune on your miniatures, spending like another 100 quid on some terrain, it sometimes feels like a kind of, oh, you know, I'd rather spend that on my miniatures and for playing the games, but it really does add to the playing experience. But again, it depends upon where you play. If you just play at a local store, then maybe terrain's not so important for you, because chances are the store will have some for you. Where are we up to? Michael is saying the plastics. Anyway, my GW trees are dead, no leaves. That's what I keep hearing from everybody's GW trees. Jack saying Amira, another great company for cheap terrain, can get on the table pretty quick. And yeah, GW trees have got no leaves either. Ross is saying final wibble from him. Not 3D, but the best terrain accessory I've seen this year is the big book of battle mats. Such a simple, perfectly executed idea that any RPG player should own. 100% agree with that, mate. I was really impressed when I watched your video on that. Anybody that hasn't seen this, head across to the Gaming channel. He's done a review of something called the Big Book of Battle Mats, and it's kind of it's a book with one of those kind of coil spine things on it, so they open out like proper, like flat, rather than kind of have a spine down the middle. And they're dry wipe kind of erasable covers on them for if you're doing either kind of like an RPG type thing, if you're doing your role playing games and you want like a dungeon or loads of different types of stuff. Head across and check it out. I thought it was really, really clever, and I was dead surprised one of those things didn't exist. Steve is saying Woodland Scenic armatures. Couldn't think. I can't pronounce that word. They're armatures and homemade clump foliage make really cheap trees. I've got a hobbycraft not far from me actually, and they sell a lot of Woodland Scenic stuff. And I was tempted to pick some of those trees up just to give them a try. I'll probably get them cheaper online, to be fair. Like. Michael is saying to Ross, thank you, wanted to add that to the shop and forgot about it. Kev says I need as many of those leaves as possible for my blood axe orcs. Those leaves, yeah, sorry. Jimmy Gibbons is in as well. Good evening, Jimmy, hope you're well, buddy. Says Pound Shop and Imagination, best place for cheap terrain. You're not wrong, definitely, mate. Dice Guy says did a review on Big Book of Battle Mat 2. It's awesome. Michael is saying to Kev as well, do GW have another race of the Elves? Maybe that's is that maybe the Wood Elves? Because the leaves. Rain says this chat hasn't really helped. I've gotten about 30 new recommendations for different companies. Actually, this has made it even more hard to make up my mind about which way to go. What would you like to buy, Rain? Are you trying to find something specific that for Fallout? Are you trying to kind of narrow it down to because for something like Fallout, you could get away with having a kind of like a barren wasteland, couldn't you? And just having either bits of clumped bushes that would work for most games. You could probably have a couple of smashed up cars that you could get away with for most kind of modern day games. You could almost have kind of futuristic, kind of like like the Mantic Dead Zone type buildings. Like you can imagine if there's been some kind of apocalypse or something like that, there'd be some kind of shelters would have been cobbled together. You could probably you kind of think outside the box. Don't think so much of like the terrain from the game. It doesn't have to be kind of the old garages, the Red Rocket garage kind of ruined and all that kind of stuff. Just all you're trying to do really is break line of sight, isn't it? Like think about like ponds, puddles, think about rocks, anything that kind of just breaks up line of sight. Tony saying Guild needs a couple of flat bits, but the barriers, trees and small buildings get used a lot. Though only 4 or 5 bits of 3D terrain at a time. It's a football game after all with fighting. Yeah, that's it. It's not about breaking line of sight as such, is it? It's more about kind of just making it not wide open. But nobody would go and have a game of football, would they? Where it was like a really built up area. And Tony saying to Jimmy as well, spot on, and a trip to the beach. Yeah, or a trip to my neighbour's garden in my case. He's got some of those really nice little slate like kind of chippings that I've used for a few of my Vanguard models. Rain saying, well, I've watched Guerrilla Miniature Gaming videos about Fallout and Lord of the Rings, and those tables look so amazing that I kind of want everything. The problem is with that, mate, is you've got to realise that is people like Guerrilla Miniature Games get sent stuff for free all the time. And those guys want him to kind of showcase their games in the best possible way. So a lot of the stuff that he probably gets sent for free, or certainly will get discounted or whatever it is. So whilst they do look fantastic, you've just got to realise that unless you're willing to spend a fortune, because like each specific terrain. It's the same when you see the Beast of War guys and stuff. Like they have a lot of terrain. You know, you see them on the shelving units behind them and stuff. They've got stacks of terrain, but I can imagine they don't go to the shop and buy it all. That's for sure. So, oh, excuse me, I've got a bit of a dry throat tonight. So then, folks, how we're doing time-wise? We're at 10:15. That seems to have gone bloody fast. Doesn't feel like 2 minutes ago since we started, but we've certainly listed about 200 different companies. We've got Gabrielle Fontana's just come in, says a big hi from Italy. Good evening, Gabrielle. Is it Gabrielle, I should say? I don't think we've had an Italian in before, so thank you very much for joining the live stream, and thank you for being our first Italian visitor. Much appreciated. We've had a good crowd tonight. I don't think I really realised how many people we had in. There's been a good kind of stream of about 30 to 40 people tonight. So yeah, we've got, I think it was peak was 42 people at one point. We've got about 32, 33 in a minute. That's not too bad at all, is it? Stuart saying hello, and Raina saying, yeah, of course they get them for free. Yeah, so you've got to kind of like, yes, they have some fantastic tables, but yeah, they've got people helping them out as well. Ross is saying to Rain, do have a look at Urban Construct, as they do some brilliant post-apocalyptic terrain that will work for Fallout as well as Walking Dead. And Rain says, I'll buy that stuff from you when you're a YouTube big shot and get them sent to you for free. I do get the odd bits and pieces. So, for example, Mantic did send me the Vanguard minis, but the terrain I bought myself, the map was mine, all that kind of stuff. I don't get like sort of loads of stuff for free. Who's the company I'm thinking of now? Somebody will remind me on. If Mark's still around, Mark, who's the company that does that kind of sort of slot together terrain, really colourful stuff, do a lot of Walking Dead stuff, and they had a Kickstarter not long ago. Mark will remind me, because I know Mark. I think Mark might have even backed it. We've got Devon Smithwick in as well. Says hi from Texas. Good evening. Hi in Texas. Hope you're well there, buddy. Nice of you to join in there, to jump in and join us. I'm trying to remember the name of that company now. I wonder if I can just yeah, I've just typed in now slot together terrain. See if I can come up with something. Not Micro Art Studios. It was somebody that did they did a Kickstarter recently. I can't remember what they're called. Ross is saying you get amazing free mugs. You've made it, fella. I do, mate. And thank you very much. This is my stream mug. I use it for every one of my streams now. Thank you very much, buddy. Much appreciated. My son's took a liking to it as well, though. That he likes to have his cereal out of my bowl now randomly. So there you go. Mark says it was Lordstone. I don't think that's who it was, mate. It was. Can you remember? It's like sci-fi stuff. They had a Kickstarter where you got a load of terrain, but it was a game as well. The gameplay videos were on Beasts of War, and they were certainly at UK Games Expo where I saw them as well. It's going to send me insane now. It'll take me a while. It'll take me to remember it. Anyway, you don't need to see me staring into the darkness trying to remember what the hell the thing's called. But we're coming up now to 10 here in the UK. We've got about 10 minutes left till the end of the stream. Before we get to the end, I wanted to thank everybody for coming in tonight. Much appreciated. It's been a bit of a long day today, I'll be honest. I've had a bit of I was down in Manchester today, so up early. 3-hour drive to Manchester. We had a bit of a briefing at work about some potential bad news coming. And then had another 3-hour drive all the way back home again to get ready for tonight as well. So being a bit of a funny day, I'll be honest. Skullmunch says, just found Battlefield in a box. Any good? Battlefield in a box is pretty good. I'm pretty sure they come from... Oh, I need to try and remember the name now. It's the guys that do... Oh, forget their name now. But Battlefield in a box are pretty good. Yeah, all kind of ready-made, already ready-painted, all good stuff. Ross is saying, is it the battlefield terrain, guys? It could be battlefield terrain, mate. That name. Let me have a quick. I'll know as soon as I see it. I'll know it's that. Battlefield in a Box is Gale Force 9. I've just seen it pop up there. That was the stuff I was trying to remember. I don't think it's the battlefield terrain stuff. Let's have a quick look. No, it'll come to me eventually. It'll come to me. I'll put a post up in the Facebook group when I remember what it is. But basically, what I was going to suggest for you, Rain, is they do. In fact, I'll tell you where I'll find it. I'm pretty sure they're the company that does the battle systems. That's it. Thank you so much, RJ McFerrin. That's exactly what I was trying to think of. Battle systems. Battle systems. This is it, right? Let me flick across. So this is for you, Rain. These are the guys that do the Fallout terrain for Fallout. So Urban Apocalypse. Oh, we don't need to see the products. That's what we want. Card terrain. So this is the kind of stuff they do, where it all kind of slots together. They do kind of like dungeon type stuff. They do some kind of modern day ruined buildings. They do some kind of Fallout looking kind of sort of you know, like apocalyptic type terrain. That's what I was thinking of. Let's have a look. Urban Apocalypse. Yeah, so it all comes like this. It just like slots together like a big jigsaw. You can kind of see here how it's like slotted together. This kind of stuff's pretty good. Not badly priced either. And if you want something kind of quick to put together and then it falls down flat again for storage, this might be a really a good shout actually. Certainly if you're not up for building stuff yourself as well and you don't have a lot of space. Right, where are we with the chat? So thank you, Ross, for that. It wasn't Ross, was it? Who reminded me who it was? It was RJ McFerrin, wasn't it? Thank you for that. That would have killed me not remembering what that was. Matt says, I think scenery is like any part of our hobby. It all comes down to how much time you have and want to put in. I value my painting time more. Therefore, I pass out scenery to other people. Yeah, and that's where I've been in the past, I think. But now I'm starting to kind of actually get in and enjoy the scenery stuff as well now. Throat Saw says he's done it again. Kept talking about interesting stuff for an hour and a half. Thanks, buddy. Much appreciated. And it's always nice to have you in to keep the chat going as well, mate. Ross is saying battle systems. Yes, well done. Jack saying battle systems, I think, does the clip-on stuff. Yep, that's it. Throat Saw says, hope stuff will be okay regarding work. Yeah, I mean, there's potentially could be some redundancies coming. We don't really know much about it at the minute. If it happens, it happens. It's not the end of the world. I've been there for 14 years, so it'll be an opportunity to do something different if it happens, and if it doesn't, then that's fine as well. So yeah, it's just I manage quite a big team at work as well. So obviously some of the questions I'm getting, I can't really answer. So that's why it's a bit tough at the minute. Where are we? RJ McFerrin saying, no problem, Andy. Some pretty nice terrain and decent mats too. Yeah, it definitely sets it off, doesn't it? Stuart says, definitely in a list of all these companies on the Facebook group. That would be really useful, guys. Actually, I'll set a thread up on there. If you want to put them into the chat in this video, either tomorrow or kind of when you think on later, that would be good for anybody else that watches this chat back. But yeah, let's put something in the Facebook group as well. Dice Guy saying, nice. Ross is saying, yeah, I second their mats. Rain saying that Shantytown looks amazing. I'm sure Rain, it's those guys that are doing the terrain for Fallout as well. So if you buy the Red Rocket sort of station thing, I think it's from those guys already. Jack saying the dungeon's really nice. Only a 2x2, I think. Yeah, I think it is, mate. Yeah. Dice Guy saying Pegasus makes some cool terrain too. They're not somebody I've heard of either. I'll have to check them out. And Jack says, oh man, not good news about the job. Fingers crossed it goes well. To be honest, Jack, I'll be honest, I think I'd quite like the opportunity to go and do something else. I've kind of been there that long now that I feel a little bit kind of trapped, if you like, and that I wouldn't just kind of get up and leave unless it was for the right opportunity. So if it was kind of forced upon me, it might not be the end of the world. Actually, it might be a nice opportunity to do something different. So I think either way I'll be fine, to be honest. And Ross is saying, yeah, the Dice Guy, forgot about them. Their Gothic Cathedral stuff is epic. Yeah, there's some real nice terrain places out there. Some real nice terrain places. So, again, another hour and a half of chat tonight about terrain stuff. Sorry I couldn't be of more help, Rain. I think all we did was give you a million more options. But yeah, this battle system stuff's not too bad at all. It's definitely worth checking it out. Let me have a look and see if I can pick up another one of these shots. That's quite nice. We'll get one of the because they've got some really nice photographs on there. I mean, obviously a lot of it is there's a lot of kind of modern day type stuff in it as well. But like things like this, let me fit across. Look really like all the bits of extra furniture and stuff like that makes it just adds to it, doesn't it? Be great for Walking Dead, great for what's the other one we're talking about? Last Days. I mean that picture there reminds me really much of the Resident Evil, the original game. You know, when they come into that house and they've got that staircase up the middle with the kind of the landings around it. I've got the Resident Evil 2 board game coming soon, so with all the miniatures that's in there, I'd be quite tempted to use those miniatures in a kind of some kind of rule set and have a little battle in the building. Like, that'd be quite cool. This guy is saying the serious player and the IPS terrain stuff is also cool. And Skullmunch says top bands as always. Top bands, love that. Top bands. So then, folks, I guess all we need to do now is we just need to decide what next week's chat's going to be about. So head across to the Facebook group. Let me know in the Facebook group what you want to chat about next week. I'm sure we can talk about a couple of bits and things. One thing that was suggested was a bit about Kickstarter. Is Kickstarter now just a fancy pre-order system? So if you want to chat about that. If you want to chat about board games for a bit of a change, we've not had much of a board game chat for a while. If you want to chat about board games, but we'll stick a post up in the Facebook group. So anybody watching this back, head across to the Facebook group and we'll get the chat ready for next week. A couple of other bits of housekeeping again. Just thanks to everybody that supports me on Patreon. Very much appreciated. Just clicked over to 10 Patreon supporters now, which is quite a nice little number. As you can see, this way. We've got a couple of people. Jesse was our latest supporter last week, and Michael just before that as well. So thank you to the Patreon supporters. Thank you to the folks like Ross who bought a T-shirt this week as well. So if you don't know, I do have some kind of some T-shirts, some merchandise. This is one of them. So, which you can see with it on my left and my right here. Fancy little logo here and a bit of gaming T-shirts and stuff. So always those kind of things as well if you want. Anybody that's not a member of the Facebook group, please head across. There'll be a link down in the description of this video. Head across, come and say hi to everybody. Always nice to have new members there as well. So we've got where are we? Skullmunch is in the Spencer Mansion. Yes, Spencer Mansion. Ross is saying great show as usual. Challenge for the Facebook group: post pics or links to your top 5 scenery items before the end of the week. Yeah, let's do that, mate. Top 5 scenery places. We've got we've got a donation there from Ross. Thank you very much, Ross. Much appreciated. Not expected, not needed, but thank you very much. I do appreciate that, mate. Really nice of you to do that. We just got a new subscriber as well at the same time. It's all kicking off now. We've got proper threw me that, mate. Sorry. This guy says looks like what I imagine the Honeypot Casino in Malifaux. I know what you mean, buddy. Jack saying, "Oh man, how good would a board game recreating that Resident Evil mansion?" I know it's definitely got me thinking about that now. Dice Guy, it looks like it. Yeah, Phil saying thanks for the show. Thanks for coming in, Phil. Much appreciated. Dice Guy says Arcadia Quest, best board game ever. Never played it, mate. Must give it a try at some point. Tim says cheers, Andy and all. Throat sores. I never know what that 07 means, mate. You see it every week, and I'm sure it's like a nice thumbs up thing or something. Matt says great show. Thank you very much, Matt. Appreciate you coming in, buddy. Thank you again, Ross, for the donation. Very, very much appreciated. Bald and Nerdy says thanks for everything. Steve says thanks, Andy, for a great show. Dice Guy says adios, people. Tim says challenge accepted. Good to see. Ross says, get yourself a coffee tomorrow. Thank you, mate. I appreciate it. It will go on a coffee tomorrow, I promise you. Because I'll probably need it bad. When I come off these live shows, it's funny. I'm assuming it's kind of like how actors and stuff are when they're in plays. They come off kind of hyped. So I always come off this and I have to kind of like wind down a little bit before bed. I kind of just come off here and straight to Kip. I have to I come off on a bit of a high. They're always good doing these shows. So I'll need a coffee tomorrow, mate. Thank you very much. Tony says, top night as always. Cheers, buddy. Stuart says, cheers, Andy. Great way to see out a Blue Monday. Yeah, it will always put a bit of a shiny smile on the end of the day, mate. Eh? Dice Guy says, newbies. Jack says, thanks, Andy. Bye all. Andrew says, cheers, boss. You're welcome, buddy. Rain says, good chat, guys. Thanks. Kev says, great chat as always. And Tolmart says, another great show. Thank you, Andy. And with that, we hit exactly 10:30. So, thank you very much, everyone. And I will see you all in the next video.